If you notice a crack in your room ceiling, leave the house immediately. Sunday evening is my favorite time of the week. I get to sit down in my room, watch a movie, play a video game, and just relax in general. This Sunday evening, though, was far more different than the typical one I just described. I had been invited to one of my friend's birthday parties the previous day. Being someone who loves to party, and since many of my friends would certainly be there, I decided to go despite the fact that I wasn't feeling that well that night. The party itself was pretty fun, and everyone there had a good time. We chatted, we said a few good jokes, none of which I can remember, and of course we drank alcohol and played beer pong. The next day, though, Sunday, things started to feel a bit off. From the point I woke up. You know the feeling you get when you wake up from a short burst loud noise? You know that the reason you were jolted awake was because of a loud noise you think you heard, but you can't truly recall hearing it, and you're not sure if it was real at all. Well, this is what woke me up that day. Even though I had a terrible headache from the events of the previous night, I could have sworn there had been a really loud noise that I can't imagine what on earth could have caused it. It was as if the sound came from another dimension. Nothing in this universe could have produced this undescribable and unnatural noise. I ignored the idea, got up from my bed, and proceeded to go to the kitchen. This is when it all started. Before exiting my room, though, I went on to open the window to let some fresh air in, and this is when I noticed it. A long, thin crack, almost like a straight line, was in the ceiling, and it was big. It stretched from one corner of the room to another, and it didn't seem to have a reason to appear. The house was quite new, so it would make no sense that this was a structural problem. After all, the crack was so thin that it didn't seem to be a result of an issue of that kind. The only logical explanation, then, was that someone or something must have caused it. I realized that I started getting paranoid and thought that I should drink some coffee first and then think about it. After all, there probably was a logical explanation to this. I guess at least I could have had someone check it to at least get an explanation. I went on with my day without much thinking and decided that I would call someone to come and check it on Monday. I had breakfast and went to the gym for a few hours. Since I woke up pretty late, I started my day at a much later time than usual. So when I got home, it was already getting dark. I turned the TV on, grabbed a snack, and started watching Netflix. While watching Netflix, the thought of the crack continuously reappeared in my head, so I got curious and thought that maybe it wasn't so bad, or that I could even have imagined it, because I had only woken up a few seconds before noticing it. So I went upstairs to my bedroom to check and reevaluate the situation. And what I saw made my heart stop. Although it all happened so fast, I am fairly sure about what I saw. A black figure with little features almost like a shadow, with big wide eyes, long arms, and big sharp claws. Its body was coming out of the crack in the ceiling, and it was staring right at me with its big, white, creepy eyes. As I turned the light on, less than a second after noticing it, and with one swift motion that was physically impossible to be performed in such speed, it got back inside of the crack. What terrified me even more was the sound it made when it vanished. It was like the sound that woke me up this morning. When I finally unfroze and checked the crack, it seemed to be the same. Not deep at all, like the crack that I had seen earlier today. Terrified, I called my best friend and asked him if he could come over and stay for the night. I told him not to worry and that I would explain everything as soon as he got here. I wasn't planning to get back in my room, at least not before my friend Michael arrived. So I stayed alert at the couch on the living room downstairs with my eyes glued to my bedroom's door, in case the figure reappeared. Instead of that, I heard the doorbell. It was Michael. Since he was my best friend, I wasn't concerned that he was going to make fun of me after telling him what I had seen, so I welcomed him in and tried to explain everything as precisely and calm as possible. He was sitting there without showing any particular expression, listening carefully to what I was saying. When I was done, he said, "Look, man, it's not that I don't believe you, but the chances of your imagination playing tricks on you are much higher than this actually being true. After all, you didn't get it off your mind all day." I told him that despite his theory being completely logical and highly possible, I insisted that it had to be real because of how vivid I had felt it. He stopped and stayed quiet for a few moments. "Tell you what, we're going to go in there together and stay the night. If what you're saying is true, we should be able to see it again during the night, right?" A few moments ago, I wasn't going to go to my bedroom again, even if my life depended on it. But now it was a chance for me to prove what I am saying. After all, it would seem suspicious if I refused, making it seem as if it was all fake. So I agreed, and we went up the stairs to my room. We entered the room hesitantly and quickly turned the lights on. The room was as normal as ever, apart from the crack. No sign of the man, though. We sat down, talked for a few minutes, and then decided we were too tired to continue talking, and that we should probably get some sleep. I tried to convince him that we should leave the room and sleep on the couch on the living room, but I couldn't change his mind. We turned the light off and went to sleep. On about 3 a.m., I woke up to the same loud noise. When I realized that my nightmare was coming true, I flicked the lights on and tried to see what was happening. Nothing. No sign of the man. No sign of Michael. I got up quickly and ran downstairs. I tried calling Michael, but he had left his phone on the living room table before we went to my room. I went outside and saw his car was still parked outside my house. I screamed his name, but didn't get an answer. The police never found him. Nobody could find any sign of what happened to Michael. I simply told the police that I woke up in the middle of the night and he wasn't there. His phone was on the living room table, so I couldn't locate him that way either. And when I checked outside, his car was also there, so I was concerned, and that's why I'd called the police. The case was left open, and the police started losing interest after realizing that there was not a single clue to be found. The weirdest thing of all is that there was no sign of the crack in the ceiling after the incident, as if it was never there. I know what happened to Michael. I never told anyone, not even my closest friends. That thing took my best friend that night. In spite of the crack vanishing mysteriously, I decided that I wanted to move out, and so I did. I want to send out a final warning to anyone that hears this. If you notice a crack in the ceiling, leave the house immediately. Okay, Slashaholics, this concludes creepy reading number 9 for the channel. This story comes from Reddit, from the subreddit Creepypasta. The author of this story, if I'm saying it correctly, Stelios_Malamas. I will put a link to the original post in the description below. Their story was titled, "If You Notice a Crack in Your Room Ceiling, Leave the House Immediately." I thought the story had a very creepy vibe to it. We've all seen little cracks in our ceilings and walls, and wondered how they got there. And this story makes you think just a little bit. Get a little paranoid yourself listening to it, huh? Anyway, as always, tonight's upload was brought to you by our patrons on Patreon: Carl Eakins, Catherine McClear, Cecilia Spears, and Sean Campbell. If anybody else would like to become a sponsor of the channel for as low as $2 to $5 per month, you get some great rewards for doing so, and you help this channel keep growing and going for years to come. There's a link in the description. Check it out. I hope everybody has a good, peaceful sleep tonight. If you don't, then I apologize if I contributed to that sleepless night. My bad. I'll be back very soon with creepy reading number 10. Until then, this has been your friendly neighborhood 80s slasher librarian saying, thanks for listening, and sleep well. If you hear something behind you, maybe you shouldn't look over your shoulder to see what it is. You're gonna do it, aren't you? Look right now.